Welcome to Ordinary Things, where ordinary things are explained. Today's ordinary thing? The moon, also known as night sun. For millennia, man has gazed up to the heavens and pondered his place in the order of things, only to have his view blocked by this giant crater-faced space rock. But what is the moon? The moon is the Earth's only permanent natural satellite, orbiting us at an average distance of 238,000 miles, or 500 million freshwater Alaskan salmon. Only 12 humans have ever visited the moon, and all of them have been white American men with the same haircut. But where did the moon come from? The short answer is that nobody knows for sure, and the shorter, vaguer, more conclusive answer is space. The most widely held theory about the moon's origin is known as the giant impact hypothesis. It proposes that an ancient planet collided with Earth during its formative years, and the resultant debris from this cosmic conquers game became the moon we know and love today. The moon is an enigma that all humans, living and dead, have had in common. The ancients looked at the skies and asked the same questions that we did. Like, how big is it? Where does it go in the light time? Is it God? Have I angered the moon god? And what does the moon god taste like? Questions that went unanswered. Until right now. Big. Down, and then back up again. No, probably not. Chalky. But ancient civilizations didn't have these answers, because they didn't have access to modern science or convenient short-form video content. When you have questions without answers, you can either rock yourself to sleep at night, shuddering in the face of the unknown, or you can turn to religious leaders who can make up some convenient answers for you. Most ancient religions incorporated some form of moon worship, and there is a large cast of moon gods that populate ancient literature and temple walls. These moon deities can usually be divided into one of two camps: the rampaging and terrifying moon gods of war, and the sexy moon goddesses of lust and fertility. And even young, trendy religions can't avoid the allure of the moon. In the early 600s, a new startup religion named Islam was founded by a young go-getter named Muhammad. As Islam gained traction, it eventually incorporated the crescent moon as part of its logo, which was instantly recognizable as soon as it set up franchises across half the known world. But it wasn't just gods and sexy goddesses that people saw in the moon, as nearly every culture has a tradition of seeing faces, figures, and recognizable shapes in its surface. You see, the human brain is hardwired to find patterns and correlations, so much so that it often sees them where there aren't any. This is a common human brain malfunction known as pareidolia. And this is also evident in the way that we see familiar shapes in clouds, or those Rorschach ink blot tests where psychiatrists show you progressively distressing photos of my disappointed parents. But when humans aren't projecting images onto the moon, we're blaming it for stuff that happens in our own skull juice. There are many recorded observations of criminal behaviour and instances of madness being more common during nights where there's a full moon. It's a popularly held notion, especially among the kind of people who believe in the healing power of crystals. However, there is no reliable evidence to actually back this idea up. It's one of those sticky superstitions that people irrationally cling to, much like astrology, homeopathy, and trickle-down economics. So the moon may not make your head milk go all lumpy, but in the 1950s, a different kind of moon madness took hold. When the Soviets first started to successfully launch satellites and brave, confused animals into orbit, the idea of a visit to the moon suddenly became a conceivable reality. As a result, the moon's cultural cachet exploded like a vape user's respiratory tract, and nowhere was this more evident than in the B-movies of American cinema. The moon has been a recurring feature throughout the history of cinema. It's even the eponymous star of the first film actually worth watching, George Méliès's 1902 A Trip to the Moon. But the 1950s were the moon's cinematic heyday, where it seemed like a moon movie was released every week. There was Destination Moon, Project Moonbase, From the Earth to the Moon, and 1950s superbly terrible Cat Women of the Moon, in which a ship full of moon-exploring astronauts can't remember their lines and encounter a group of telepathic subterranean interpretive dancers bent on sexy world domination. When you watch these movies though, you start to notice some pretty concrete recurring themes. There's the cheesy rocket models, the plastic sets, the space jargon, the doomed missions, and they all seem to feature a team of men and one token female astronaut who's only there to look pretty, scream at the inevitable appearance of giant moon spiders, and to be subjected to lines like this.
You're too smart for me, baby. I like 'em stupid.
However, in the 1960s, these moon movies were blown out of the stratosphere by a groundbreaking TV show called The Moon Landings, produced by NASA and shown exclusively on the news. The Moon Landings were the highest rated show of 1969, attracting a global audience of 530 million viewers, despite its low production value and uncharismatic lead characters.
We'll read the plaque that's on the front landing gear of this lamb?
Naturally, it was commissioned for a second season, with a follow-up moon visit occurring in November of the same year. But the show suffered from declining ratings and ballooning budgets, and the production made the strange decision to change the cast every season and return to the same cheesy set. In the third season, they tried to spice things up by casting big names like Tom Hanks and Kevin Bacon, and then boldly threatening to kill them off before backing out at the last minute. By the final episode in 1972, moon fever had given way to moon boredom. There were no monsters or smoking hot cat women up there, so there was no incentive to tune in. The show was also getting napalmed in the ratings by the news's other long-running flagship show, the Vietnam War, which had just dropped the incredible twist that the Americans had been the bad guys all along. Since then, NASA has threatened to reboot the moon landings time and again, but has never found the funding. However, they did produce a successful space station spin-off in 2000, and a disastrous 1986 pilot called Challenger, which barely made it off the ground before being taken off air. Despite confirmation that the moon is as dusty and barren as a Chernobyl playground, it still has the ability to capture and even dement our imaginations. You might be aware that some people don't believe the moon landings occurred at all, but I'm afraid that is just the tip of the moonberg. Since the emergence of the internet, the celestial golf ball in the sky has become jet fuel for the steel beams in conspiracy-orientated brains. There are more moon-based conspiracy theories than you can fit into its hollow core. And look, I don't have the patience or inclination to cover them all in detail, so instead I've condensed them all down into one convenient and indulgent 2-minute musical segment. And now, the ordinary guy sings Moonspiracies. A whole bunch of folks think the moon landing's a hoax or that it doesn't exist. It's just a projection from a space station, so don't even try to resist. Alien spires and nuclear gyres, the Russians are in on it too. It's all on the web and circled in red, so you know that it has to be true. It was faked in a basement, Texas adjacent by Kubrick, Nixon and Beans. It's hollow, it's empty, it's filled with spaghetti. Click here for horny London-based teens. Secret moon bases and alien races, when you turn your back it goes blue. It's moving away from us at speed superfluous, and that one is actually true. Elvis and Marilyn, Diana Edison, they're all still alive on the moon. Neighbours actually, up so goes gravity, floating your way like balloons. Resistance is futile, it's all there on Google, but beware of the FBI. Clear your history, eat all your cookies, cause the end's totally nigh. China hoards crystals plus orbital missiles, but keep them on the moon far side. With help from aliens and Saudi Arabians, they're planning domination worldwide. They say the moon is made of cheese, but it's actually composed of soy. If you eat just a tiny bit, you'll grow giant breasts and no longer resemble a boy. The Bible has a secret sequel. It says it's okay to be gay. They keep it locked in the moon's hollow core and tell you to pray it away. Governments run by little grey men, chemtrails come out of the plains. Moon beers, moon pies, moon fears, moon lies, don't let the moon slugs eat your brains. Is it a spaceship, a marble, a miniature schnauzer, or stain in the sky? Beware, too much internet can poison your mind. Click here and kiss your brain cells goodbye. The Victorians got there with cast iron spaceships powered with nothing but steam. The royal family's reptilian, Hitler was Argentinian, Bush did 9/11, and jet fuel can't melt goddamn steel beams. There was a time when the super rich were happy to lie back on their private islands having preteen sex parties with Bill Clinton and hunting man for sport. But now all they want is a sweet slice of moon pie. The highest profile company with the moon in its cash crosshairs is Elon Musk's SpaceX, a remarkable company that have landed nearly as many rockets as they've exploded, determined to get higher than anyone else has before with a combination of rocket fuel and government-funded contracts.
Hope we go back to the moon soon.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
But the moon is really just a pit stop for Elon's space race ambitions, as his real goal is to take humanity interplanetary.
We should have a base on the moon, like a permanently occupied human base on the moon, and send people to Mars.
In all seriousness, this is a laudable, if delusional, ambition. But then again, maybe I'm being pessimistic. Maybe I should have more faith in Elon. After all, he's already proven that he can bring life to a barren, deserted wasteland with a trial run on his own scalp. Speaking of baldy billionaires, the other hopeful cash colonizer in the moon's space race war is budget Bond villain Jeff Bezos. Whatever. When Bezos isn't preventing his workers from unionizing or attempting to kill Superman, he is spaffing hot wads of cash into his space exploration company, Blue Origin. But Bezos is absolutely obsessed with getting us to the moon, and not just because he wants to escape his $38 billion divorce settlement. Bezos also gives lip service to his boyhood space dreams and presents drawings what he did that totally aren't copied from Mass Effect Citadel. Bezos believes the moon is right for lunar water mining, and a place that we will one day be able to move all of Earth's heavy industry. Because he's apparently not content to keep working class people out of public view in his Amazon fulfillment camps, as he also wants to launch them off-planet. At this press conference, Bezos also presented the Blue Origin moon lander, the design of which was presumably based on his own baldy head. He says it will take his space testicle just 7 days to reach the surface of the moon, or even just 1 if you're willing to pay an extra $79.99 a year. Bezos and Musk are not the first to see the moon's commercial potential, just the richest. So how can an ordinary guy like me buy himself some moon? Well, one entrepreneur / crafty crackpot named Dennis Hope has been selling lunar real estate since the early 1980s.
Good afternoon, Lunar Embassy Galactic Government Headquarters. May I help you?
He's taking advantage of an apparently planet-sized loophole in the UN's 1967 Outer Space Treaty, which prevents any nation from claiming any kind of territorial sovereignty over the moon, but says nothing about individuals doing so.
That if they had a legal problem with my claim of ownership, to please let me know. And on that note, I've never heard from them.
By typing in all caps first into the cosmic comment section, Dennis claimed the moon for himself and has been selling theoretical chunks of it for $20 an acre ever since. And the best thing about Hope's offer is that each acre comes with a complimentary sample bottle of delicious snake oil. And I hear you, YouTube audience, owning a sweet piece of moon pie sounds great, but what's the point if I can't get there? Well, one company called Celestius is already offering to do just that, and you can join them on their next journey to the moon for as little as $12,500. There's just one small catch. You have to be dead first.
Celestis is the pioneer and unquestioned leader in memorial space flights, personally serving families all over the world.
That's right, Celestius are in the business of orbital and lunar corpse dumping, with famous stiffs like Gene Roddenberry and Timothy Leary already floating among the stars and space junk.
A portion of cremated remains is carefully placed inside a permanently sealed flight module. Each module is inscribed with the person's name and a personal message.
It's certainly a unique commemoration. And just think, every time your loved ones look to the stars, they'll be able to remember you, and the 12 grand you deprived them of in your final act of planet-sized hubris. Finally, there are those who see the moon as nothing but an empty billboard on which to advertise hot singles in your solar system. An ambitious team named White Label Space have been attempting to raise funds for their moon missions by selling ad space on their equipment and potentially setting up moonverts on the surface. And there's even some companies who have seriously considered the possibility of projecting advertising images onto the moon's surface, which would be an incredible act of vandalism. But if we find a way of projecting tech onto the moon, I'm all for it. With moon factories, ownership, burials and adverts all possible or soon to be so, there's a real risk that big business will ruin the moon like it's ruined the human-riddled mudball that it orbits. So what's the solution? How can we protect our closest neighbour from exploitation and human infestation? Well, I think we can take a page from ancient civilizations and learn to make the moon scary again. Roll tape! The moon has been around since the dawn of man. We've all seen it, but what do we really know about it? The moon has been spotted staring through children's windows and is responsible for 100% of recorded werewolf transformations. How can we trust something that only comes out at night? And what is it hiding on that side that we never see? Secret Chinese missile bases? Moon Nazis? Space pedos? Don't be mistaken, if the moon got the chance, it would fall out of the sky and crush everyone you love. Fear it! Fear the moon! Don't go near it! Don't even look at it! Be scared of the moon! This has been a paid promotion by the Ordinary Foundation's Make the Moon Scary Again. I'm the Ordinary Guy, and I approve this message. This has been Ordinary Things. If you like what I've put out so far, please consider donating to my Patreon account and following me on Twitter. And don't forget to subscribe so the next Ordinary Thing can be delivered straight to your face.